Hello, how are we all? I hope we're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. If it's summer where you are right now, happy summer. Fuck. We are Wicked Game, as you may or may not already know, and this is Sidequest, the episodic, serialized TTRPG setting where we don't play D&D for once. At the moment, we are playing City of Mist. You've probably seen it down here, to be honest, but we will be playing City of Mist, and we have today with us the absolutely incredible Joshy Longlegs as the GM. Hello, Josh. How are
Hi.
you?
I'm good. My legs are long and my heart is strong.
Heck yeah. Strong, strong legs and heart. No, it's very warm. It's very warm today.
Is. That's fine.
So, if you don't already know, this is episode 2 of the series. If you haven't seen episode 1, go back. What are you doing? You're gonna miss all of the good crunchy bits talking about the system. We did a little bit of like an overview of the system last session, and it would be good for you to see it. But we're in episode 2, and Josh, what do we have in store for the viewers for episode 2? What do we have?
We'll find out together.
Incredible.
Previously, I had described the lovely town of Bungie to you and its environs, and set up a little scene in St. Mary's Church on the 4th of August, 1577. It's the morning. 2 people are receiving a blessing at the front of the church, Thomas Marlborough and Adelaide Weston. And the blessing is being given by one Reverend Abraham Fleming. There is an uncommonly strong storm happening in the village of Bungie. Thunder and lightning that shakes the church. A storm that will be remembered for years, if not centuries, to come. Monday.
Yeah.
Can you describe yourself for me?
Yes. Probably somewhere sat with her other friends is a woman wearing a blue, simple sort of peasant's dress, with a headdress that is covering her, and a smile sort of plastered on her face as she's sort of intrigued by what's happening. And she looks sort of like most other people in here, but the one difference is she wears like a half mask just covering the top of her face. And yes, she's just sort of intrigued as to what's happening, like a bit scared but a bit excited, like, ooh.
Perfect. I would like for you to roll for me a investigate roll.
Okay.
This will be using your divination abilities, as we discussed. So, which tags should you use? For this first one, I will give you examples of what I'm looking for. Everything else, and it'll all be on you. And the same will go for everyone else for their first roll.
Thanks.
So, for this roll, I would like you to use your glimpses of past, present, and future. You said you're excited, so
Yeah.
the stronger the emotion, the more you're able to see. You will also use your creatures of the night tag. You will use your my own type of eccentric tag, your youthful curiosity tag, and your the locals tag for 6.
Okay.
You will take a weakness of you don't know if something's past, present, or future, bringing you down to 5. Roll 2d6 for me.
So it's a 7 on the dice, plus 5, that's a
Plus
12.
5. That's a 12. That is a success. Excellent. So you actually now have 6 questions that you can ask me. But
Oh.
what I'm going to do is give you the option now of past, present, or future. What do you want?
Ooh. Future.
Future. As you sit watching this blessing Monday, you blink and everything around you is bathed in white, pale moonlight. You turn around and on the floor is just a pool of blood. The door to the church, the huge wooden door, has an enormous claw scratch through it. People are screaming and running. Past, present, or future?
Let's do present.
Present. It's like you've been lifted up suddenly by a bird and pulled above the town of Bungie. You look down, and again, bathed in this pale moonlight in the early morning, you watch as the rain sort of falls down, and a dark cloud is gathering out on the edges of town and appears to be slowly working its way into the town. One last time, past, present, or future? Past. There's a big pit, and bodies are being thrown into it.
Okay.
You have 3 clues that you can use at any time. Do make sure that you use them specifically asking about something from the past, present, or future. So you can make note of that in your inventory or wherever you like, really.
Okay.
So
is that because of the good roll?
It's because of the good roll. Yes, a 12 is a success. And if you had the right level up, a 12 would be dynamite, which means that I would have to reveal a key detail, which is what I am going to do. Monday, something bad is going to happen.
Yeah. Can I act on this information now?
You may act on this information. It is quiet in the church, almost anticipatory. Just letting you know.
I don't think she really thinks about that. She's just gonna stand up and says, No. We need to leave. Everyone needs to leave. Guys, everyone, we need to go now.
Roll a convince for me. So whichever tags you think are appropriate to this convince. You cannot use your clues to bump this up, unfortunately.
Sit down.
I would like to use my own type of eccentric.
Yep.
Which I think is fair.
Yeah.
Could I use people project onto me? So if they feel like
not in this case. People project onto you is more for like building rapport, whereas at this moment you're standing up in the middle of church and telling people to get out.
Okay, perfect. The locals?
You can use the locals, absolutely.
Maybe fear?
Yeah, definitely.
That's a feeling.
Yeah. I think four is a good place to go from that.
No, give it a full 17. Like
No. So I've got +3, yeah?
3, yes, sorry.
That's a 7.
7 total.
7 total. I roll a 4 on the dice.
So that is a mixed success on a convince. On a 7 to 9, they give in a little but protect their own agenda. So their agenda at the moment is they kind of want to stay in church so they don't get cursed and go to hell. But what they will do, because they know you, the people sort of turn to you, and the Reverend, who sort of pauses in the middle of his blessing that he's giving. You see, he's got like a little silver. I forget the word for it that they used to flick water. He says, "Monday all shall be well, my child. Worry not. We shall protect you should anything bad happen." And continues talking in Latin, which obviously, I think only one of you can understand, actually.
I think I just sort of like put my hand up and just kind of like put it on your shoulder and just like slowly kind of like try to bring you back to sitting.
I think Monday is like fretting a little bit and takes heed of like the hushing she's getting, and is just gonna like move across the pew and just be like, sorry, okay, sorry, I'm just gonna and it's just gonna go back, stand where that door she saw was, and go
Monday,
stand
it's very wet outside. We shouldn't go out there. You don't have a brolly.
No, something bad's gonna happen.
I would like for Bill Kemp to be described.
Am I here or am I somewhere else?
You're here. You're in the church.
Cool.
You
Bill,
work here, mate.
I know I do, but I didn't know if I was here right now. You know, it's the morning. Like I've just finished a shift. Bill Kemp is a Morris dancer, and for those watching who don't know what a Morris dancer is, imagine the film Midsummer was about a middle-aged man who was recently divorced instead of a young woman, and it's sort of that kind of energy. And also there's bells. That's sort of the situation. But yeah, he's like he's got bells on his ankles and feet, and he's like a puffy shirt and like a he's a bloke. He's a guy. He's just an innocent man.
Bill. Can you please roll for me and investigate for supernatural? So I'll give you your first lot.
Yeah.
For you, I think reveal the weird, attuned to natural rhythms, and I would say that's probably it for supernatural detection, unless you would like to argue with me on any of those.
I mean, the only one I would think is like almost unflappable, like like staying focused and in that space.
Given what Monday's just done as well, so you can do that. I'm going to give you a
-8.
1 for ringing ears.
Fair.
So you're +2.
That's a 5 total.
5 + 2.
Nope.
No, 5 total.
5 total.
It's D20s, not D8s.
It's D6s.
Sorry, yeah, that's what I meant.
To be honest, you don't have a single clue.
I'm tired. I've just finished a full shift.
You've just finished a full shift of walking the graves. And for some reason, your bloody bells are ringing.
Oh, like by
That
themselves?
Yeah. Not
Oh,
like
no.
ringing, but just like gently quivering. You suspect it's probably thunder. It's like it's shaking the church, and like the sensor is sort of moving on its own accord.
We're all gently quivering.
Yeah. Hey Bill, what's your greatest fear?
What? Bill's greatest fear. Bill's greatest fear. I'm trying to remember my character. Bill's greatest fear. Bill's greatest fear is never knowing. It's like unanswered questions that they hang over him, and his fear is one day resigning to the fact that he will just never know the answers to them.
Okay. Lady Madeline Marlowe. What do you look like?
Lady Madeline Marlowe is, as always, full regalia. A huge neckpiece, much in the style of our good Queen Elizabeth, that comes up way past the head. She's wearing a wig of ginger curls, much like our good Queen Elizabeth.
Oh, she's just like the Queen.
She has a full corset pulled to the appropriate court inches of 14 inches, and full heavy skirts, very, very wide. So she's taken up almost a full pew, which is why she couldn't really stop Monday from leaving. And satin slippers, as is customary. You might not notice under the skirts a little spaniel hides beneath the folds of the skirt, but people often don't notice that.
Lady Madeline Marlowe, I would like for you to please roll a change the game for soothing your spaniel. As the thunderstorm that is shaking the church is making your poor little chap a little bit.
Actually, no. What do I add to that? I mean, other than Spectral Spaniel.
The things I would suggest, obviously, Spectral Spaniel. Spoiler alert. I think you can have always knows who to be, because in this sense, you're being that calming, soothing presence. I think you could also
reading people and books and Spectral Spaniels.
What wild!
I
what
don't
wild
think
sentence.
reading people and books. Unfortunately, I think it's just +2.
Just a +2. Okay.
On the upswing, there are no negatives for you at this point.
I don't think that's very good. That's a I think but because I just rolled a 5, so +2, so that's a 7.
5 + 2, that's 7. That is on a change the game. That is a mixed success. So you get juice equal to power. I'm going to suggest that you use your juice to to reduce the spaniel's status of anxious by 2. The spaniel's status of anxious is currently 3, owing to the storm. So if you reduce it by 2, that goes from 3 down to 2.1, down to 2.
Okay. Yes, Flush, quiet. It's going to be all right.
And it's just literally the whining sort of stops. But you can still.
Some people can't see and just think that whatever's under my skirt is making a whining noise.
Boy, I heard she's got one of them new inventions. It is unlikely that your spectral spaniel, which sounds like it'd be a great app name, your spectral spaniel would be so upset over nothing. But it is not unlike them to be put off by inclement weather, owing to the fact that they are a little King Charles Spaniel. Probably weren't called that at the time. But
they're called Charlie Spaniels.
Chuck Spaniels. Anyway, they are quite nervous dogs. He is quite a nervous dog by disposition because he is small and the world is big.
Mm.
He's very well behaved, and you do sort of sense him. He stops whining, but does make a single not one of death, I should say. Last but not least, John Leeks. Describe yourself to us.
Yeah. So sitting as sort of far back and as out of the way as possible is a behemoth of a man, easily 6'7", 6'8", built like a brick shithouse. He sits with his Sunday best, Tuesday best. No, yeah, Tuesday best on. Though that best is not as good as it could be. Sort of breeches that are sodden, tucked into large leather boots that I've seen a lot of wear, wearing a sort of shabby overcoat with a kind of grandad collar shirt underneath and a neck scarf on, and rough kind of stubbly face and long thinning, slightly widow's peaked hair at the on his head. John Leeks is that trying not to obstruct anyone's view.
Lovely. Love a short king. John, can you please roll for me a face danger roll? And that will be against something that I'm going to describe in a bit, but there might be some clues in the tags I ask you to use. Not usually how this works. I would like you to have built like a boat. I would like you to have strategic positioning. I would like you to have life preserver. And I think that's it.
Interesting. So that's a +3. Do I have any minuses?
You don't have any minuses at this
Marvelous. Oh no, I don't think that's too bad. I rolled a 4 and a 1, and I've got a +3, so that is 8.
8. Mixed success. On a face danger on a 7 to 9, you take the status with a -1 tier. You will take, in which case, tier 2, shook. SHOOK.
Tier 2, shook. I'm a bit spooked by Monday.
I'm going to reread a passage that I read in the first chapter. A great and terrible and fearful tempest at the time of procession upon the Sunday, such darkness, rain, hail, thunder, and lightning was never seen the like. The people were witnesses of the strangeness, the rareness, and suddenness of the storm, consisting of rain violently falling, fearful flashes of lightning, and terrible cracks of thunder. The church did, as it were, quake and stagger. Immediately hereupon there appeared in a most horrible similitude and likeness a dog, as they might discern it, of a black colour, or the devil in such likeness, running all down the body of the church with great swiftness. Going to pause there. As a huge crack of thunder shakes the very stones, the flagstones of the church, you feel the pews all move. You hear the congregation scream and yelp as a huge bolt of lightning strikes the weather vane at the top of the church. You hear a deafening crash as the tower is broken by the force of the lightning and then the force of the bell falling down the bell tower. Whether from the brightness of the flash or from some strange, evil magics, it seems dark inside the church. And from the altar, where Reverend Abraham Fleming was, you hear a low rumble, a growl from a creature, 2 red pinpricks of light peering through the darkness. Bounding down the aisle, you see a huge, shaggy hound, bigger than a wolf, far more terrifying. The smell of brimstone fills your nostrils. Fear grips your heart. The devil in such a likeness runs all along down the body of the church with great swiftness, passed between two persons, occupied in prayer, as it seemed. As it runs past Thomas Marlborough and Adelaide Weston, both their hands reach up to their own throats. Their faces turn purple. And they are both lifted into the air. Passed between two persons, occupied in prayer as it seemed, wrung the necks of them both at one instant clean backwards. Passing another man as this creature runs down the aisle of the church, a man stands up. He holds the Bible in front of him. And as this creature gets up to him, he loses his bottle, turns tail, and begins to run. Creature raises a huge canine, but somehow worse, paw, claw, hand, and rends the man in two. Red liquor laps against the white marble of the floor. Passing another man gave him such a gripe on the back that there, with all he was, presently drawn together, and then shrinks. His skin starts to shrink over his body as the blood pours out, as it were a piece of leather scorched in a hot fire. The creature bounds towards the doors at the very back. John, you are sat at the very back. This creature does not turn to you, but it raises itself up onto its hind legs, and with a second mighty swipe, a claw, a slash, it carves a huge gouge into the great wooden doors of the church. The doors fly open, sending splintering bits of wood. You manifest, John, some arcane power that just protects you momentarily from the worst of this. You're not pierced by any of the wooden shrapnel. But what has happened to you and around you has shaken you to your core. Creature stands in the doorway and turns towards the congregation. Red eyes burning in the now morning midnight, as mist, like dark obsidian, rolls through the streets of Bungay. Another crack of thunder, and the creature is gone. And that is the end of episode 2.
Jesus. I'm all shook up. What an episode.
Yeah. Trying to warn you.
Thank you ever so much, Josh. And join us next episode for what will happen next, because we don't know. Thank you very much for watching. We will be here this time next week. So give us a look-see then. Like and subscribe.